Washington sends arms sales official to US-Taiwan military event. North Korea conducts longest-range missile test yet over Japan. Worst ever bird flu crisis in Europe this season. CSTO will not participate in war against Ukraine. Poland demands $1.3 trillion in war damages from Germany. Kenya lifts ban on genetically modified crops. Lottery jackpot with 433 winners draws scrutiny in Philippines. Kim Kardashian fined $1 million over crypto promotion.
Hello, I'm Ruby. Thank you for joining us on FUNDAY News. It is Wednesday, October 5th, and here are your top stories. The South China Morning Post reported the U.S. government has sent a senior official in charge of arms sales to the closed-door annual US-Taiwan Defense Industry Conference, and a sign of Washington's firm commitment to Taiwan's defense. Laura Creasy, director of the Office of Regional Security and Arms, transfers under the State Department's Bureau of Political Military Affairs, is expected to make a keynote speech at the two-day conference's closing session in Richmond, Virginia on Tuesday.
I grew up in the UK in the 60s and 70s. You had significant decline, the winter of discontent at the end of the 70s.
According to Rupert Hammond Chambers, president of the US-Taiwan Business Council, which organizes the conference, Creasy's attendance will make her the first State Department official to address the event since 2011, and the first from the Bureau in charge of arms sales. The event coincides with a push by a group of U.S. senators, led by U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee Chairman Bob Mendez, to include $6.5 billion in military aid to Taiwan in the Bipartisan National Defense Authorization Act of 2023.
Reuters reported that nuclear-armed North Korea fired a ballistic missile over Japan for the first time in 5 years on Tuesday, prompting a warning for residents to take cover and a temporary suspension of train operations. The media said it was the first North Korean missile to follow such a trajectory since 2017, and Tokyo said its 4,600 kilometers range may have been the longest distance traveled for a North Korean test flight. The test prompted East Japan Railway to suspend train operations in northern regions.
There were no real signs of panic as a missile launched from North Korea traveled 4,500 kilometers. Passing over the Japanese island of Honshu.
South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff said it appeared to have been an intermediate-range ballistic missile launched from North Korea's Zhejiang province. North Korea has used that province to launch several tests recently. A former South Korean Navy officer, Kim Dong-yup, said the initial flight details announced by South Korea and Japan suggest the missile may have been the Hwasong-12 IRBM, which North Korea unveiled in 2017 as part of threats to strike U.S. military bases in Guam.
The EU's Food Safety Agency said Europe has experienced its worst bird flu crisis ever this year, with nearly 50 million poultry killed, and the persistence of the virus over the summer has raised the risk of widespread infections next season. According to a joint overview by the EFSA, the European CDC, and the EU reference laboratories, an unprecedented number of outbreaks were reported in wild and domestic birds this summer, causing massive mortality among seabird breeding colonies on the North Atlantic coast.
There should be 6,000 ducks filling this barn, but there isn't an animal in sight and the feeders are empty.
The EU Food Safety Agency said this season's epidemic affected 37 European countries in total, the largest geographical reach on record, and the virus crossed the Atlantic for the first time along migration routes, causing a severe epidemic in poultry in several Canadian provinces and U.S. states. It is said overall, this season's ongoing bird flu crisis is the worst ever seen in Europe, with a total of 2,467 outbreaks reported in poultry and 47.7 million birds culled.
The official representative of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Kazakhstan, Aybek Smadyarov, said on October 2nd that the Russian-dominated Collective Security Treaty Organization or CSTO, will not take part in Russia's war against Ukraine. Earlier, Kazakhstan refused to recognize the results of Russian CSTO referendums in Ukraine. The country also said that it would extradite Russian citizens in the country who are evading mobilization in Russia if they were put on a wanted list.
Which is being created completely artificially, in my opinion, in the United States' foreign policy interests.
The Kazakh Foreign Ministry said, in general, the zone of responsibility of the CSTO is clearly defined by the internationally recognized territories of the member states of the organizations, and collective security is ensured within these territories. Smadyrov said the participation of the CSTO in the war doesn't fall within the organization's area of responsibility. He said that the Astana proceeds from the principles of the sovereign equality and peaceful existence of states in accordance with international law and the UN Charter.
I always needed time on my own. I never thought I'd be here.
I take your blessings with your heartaches too. So easy and so wonderful to know it's you.
学习，一切从今天开始。FUNDAY 英语。
On Monday, Polish Foreign Minister Zbigniew Rau signed an official note to Germany requesting the payment of about 1.3 trillion in reparations for the damage incurred by occupying Nazi Germans during World War II. Rau said the note expresses his view that the two sides should take action without delay to address the effects of Germany's 1939-45 occupation in a lasting and complex, legally binding as well as material way. The signing comes on the eve of Rau's meeting in Warsaw with the German foreign minister.
Ross said that would include German reparations, as well as solving the issue of looted artworks, archives, and bank deposits. On the war's 83rd anniversary, September 1st, Poland's government presented an extensive report on the damages, estimating it at the $1.3 trillion figure. Around 6 million of Poland's citizens, including 3 million Jews, were killed in the war. Some of them were victims of the Soviet Red Army that invaded from the east. Germany argues compensation was paid to Eastern Bloc nations after the war.
Kenya's new president says the cabinet has effectively lifted the country's ban on openly cultivating genetically modified crops as the East African country struggles with food security and a deadly drought. Earlier this year, the U.S. via its Trade Representative's office criticized Kenya over its ban on the effects on U.S. agricultural exports to East Africa's commercial hub. U.S. Trade Rep. Catherine Tai led the U.S. delegation to Ruto's inauguration last month and noted the new president's support for shared regional priorities.
How are you?
The presidency statement said on Monday that open cultivation and importation of white maize is now authorized. Many African countries have bans on genetically modified agriculture amid concerns about potentially harmful effects on smallholder farms, existing crops, the environment, and people's long-term health. Agriculture is the main driver of Kenya's economy, and about 70% of the rural workforce is in farming. The recently elected president, William Ruto, was the former agriculture minister who ran on the platform of greater agricultural productivity.
The chance of winning the government-sponsored Grand Lotto in the Philippines was 1 in 28.9 million. But last Saturday night, October 1st, a total of 433 lottery bettors had the same winning combination. Instead of becoming an overnight multimillionaire, the winners will split the total grand prize of 236 million pesos and will each receive around 545,000 pesos, around 294,023 Taiwanese dollars, excluding tax deductions. The winning combination was 09, 45, 36, 27, 18, and 54, numbers which are all divisible by 9.
The media said the huge number of winners, a first in local lotto history, has sparked suspicions about the lottery's integrity and triggered calls for a congressional inquiry. University of the Philippines Dillman Institute of Mathematics professor Guido David said the probability of having such a big number of bettors guessing the right combination is 1, followed by 1,224 zeros. He said that it is not impossible to have multiple winners, especially since last Saturday's winning combination was a mathematical sequence.
The US reality TV star Kim Kardashian is being barred from recommending cryptocurrency for 3 years and will pay a $1 million fine to settle federal charges that she recommended a crypto security to her 330 million Instagram followers without making clear that she was paid to do so. She also must give up the $250,000 she was paid for the Instagram post about Ethereum Max tokens plus interest. Kardashian is the latest celebrity to get ensnared in regulations that require full disclosure by people getting paid to promote financial products.
The US SEC said Kardashian agreed to cooperate with an ongoing investigation, though it didn't provide any details on what that investigation would entail. The legal representative for Kardashian, Patrick Gibbs, said she fully cooperated with the SEC from the very beginning, and she remains willing to do whatever she can to assist the SEC in this matter. While Kardashian is well known for her role in the TV series The Kardashians, she is also a successful businesswoman with clothing and skincare brands.
FUNDAY News will help you sharpen your English skills and keep you informed about international current events. If you want to know more about our other programs and keep learning about the world's most important topics in English, please click on the link in the description below to join FUNDAY for free. I'm Ruby, your host. I'll see you next time.